Far away from Earth, in the dark space between the stars, a giant alien station floated near a dying sun. The station had once been bright and full of life. Now, it was broken. Fires burned inside. The outer walls were torn and full of holes. Pieces of metal drifted away like dead leaves in the wind. The station's lights flickered as if they were trying to stay alive. Inside the station, a tall alien with blue skin ran through a smoking hall. His breathing was fast. His heart pounded. He reached a control room and pushed a button. A screen lit up. The alien's face was tired and full of fear. His large black eyes stared at the camera. He spoke in a voice filled with pain. "This is a call for help. To any who can hear, we are under attack. Our station is lost. Our people are dying. Please, please help us. The enemy is too strong. They destroy everything in their path. We have no more ships. We have no more weapons. This is our final message. If you can hear us, you are our last hope." The alien fell to the ground. His voice grew weak. Smoke filled the room. The camera went dark. The signal left the station, flying across space, faster than light. A final cry for help. On Earth, the night was quiet. In a large command center deep under the ground, screens glowed in the dark. A soldier sat at a desk, watching the data streams. His eyes were heavy. He had been on duty for hours. Suddenly, one of the screens blinked red. A new signal had arrived. Soldier sat up. Awake now, he pressed a button. The signal played. The alien's face appeared. The alien's face appeared. The words echoed in the silent room. "This is a call for help." The soldier's hands shook. He called his commander. Alarms began to sound. Lights turned on. People ran into the room. More soldiers, officers, and scientists. Everyone stared at the screen. The head of Earth's defense, General Reeves, entered the room. He was a tall man with silver hair and sharp eyes. His voice was firm. "What's happening?" The soldier pointed at the screen. "Sir, we received this signal. It's from deep space." General Reeves listened to the message. His face was calm, but his mind was racing. He had seen war before. He had fought battles. But this was something else. "Where is the signal coming from?" he asked. A young officer replied, "From a system at the edge of our map, sir. Very far. It would take weeks to reach." General Reeves crossed his arms. The room was silent as everyone waited for his orders. Some of the leaders began to speak. "It could be a trap," one said. "We don't know these aliens," said another. "Why should we risk our people for strangers?" But General Reeves shook his head. "If we ignore this, we may regret it. If the enemy that attacked them comes here, we'll wish we had acted sooner." He turned to his officers. "Prepare the Armada. All of it, our strongest ships, our best soldiers. We will answer this call." The room came alive with activity. Orders were given. Ships were made ready. Weapons loaded. Crews gathered. The news spread across Earth. The world watched as the Armada prepared to leave. At the main spaceport, giant ships stood tall, silver and black with sharp lines and heavy guns. Fighters sat ready on their decks. Soldiers in dark suits climbed aboard. Pilots checked their craft. Engineers ran final tests. The Armada was Earth's pride, fast, powerful, and built for war. Ray, a young pilot with sharp eyes and steady hands, stood beside his small fighter. He checked every part of his ship. He knew the mission was dangerous. He knew he might not come back. But his heart was strong. He would do his duty. As the Armada launched, the people of Earth watched from the ground, from windows, from screens. The sky filled with light as the engines roared. The ships rose into the stars, heading into the unknown. But far below, in the shadows of the city, a man stood alone. He wore a dark coat. His eyes glowed faintly red. He watched the ships rise, and he smiled. Unknown to the leaders, unknown to the Armada, someone on Earth had already sent a signal. A second signal. A secret message. A message to the enemy. Journey through space was long. The Armada flew in tight formation. The stars passed like white streaks. Inside the ships, soldiers trained pilots studied battle plans. The officers watched the maps, searching for signs of the enemy. General Reeves sat in his command chair on the flagship. His face was hard, but inside he felt the weight of his choice. He thought of Earth, of the people who trusted him. He hoped he had made the right decision. Ray spent the journey checking his fighter. He kept his mind busy. He didn't let fear in. He talked with his friends, shared stories, kept their spirits up. But at night, when the lights were low and the ship was quiet, he thought of home, of the blue sky, of the people waiting for them to return. After many days, the Armada reached the system from where the signal had come. What they found shocked them. The station was gone. Only pieces of it remained, floating through space. The nearby planet was burned. Black marks scarred its surface. The remains of other ships drifted in the dark. The officers spoke in low voices. What could do this? Where are the survivors? Is the enemy still here? The sensors picked up a small ship, moving slowly through the wreckage. It broadcast the same SOS. The Armada hailed it. The small ship answered. On the screen appeared a strange face, an alien, thin and pale, with wide black eyes. His voice was weak. Thank you. Thank you for coming. You are our last hope. But it may already be too late. They are coming. The Dark Fleet, stronger than you can imagine. They will find you, and they will destroy you too. General Reeves asked, Who are they? But before the alien could answer, the small ship's screen went dark. The sensors showed it had lost power. It drifted, helpless. General Reeves turned to his officers. Bring that ship aboard. I want to speak with that alien in person. Ray watched from his fighter as the small ship was pulled into the flagship's hangar. He felt a chill. Something wasn't right. The enemy might already be closer than they knew. And somewhere in the dark, the true threat moved silently, ready to strike. The small alien ship now rested inside the hangar of Earth's flagship. The ship was badly damaged. Its outer shell was black with burn marks. One of its engines was gone. The lights inside flickered. It looked like it could fall apart at any moment. Ray stood near his fighter, watching as engineers and soldiers gathered around the alien craft. They worked carefully, opening the hatch. The air inside hissed out as the door was unlocked. A strong, strange smell filled the hangar, like metal and smoke mixed with something Ray could not name. Out of the ship stepped the alien. His skin was pale, almost gray. His black eyes were wide with fear. His thin hands trembled. His clothes were torn, and his face was marked with burns. But he stood tall, as if trying to show strength. General Reeves entered the hangar, his boots echoing on the metal floor. The soldiers stood aside to let him pass. He stopped in front of the alien. His voice was calm but firm. I am General Reeves. You sent the SOS. The alien nodded. His voice was soft and weak. I am Kalen. I am all that is left of my people. Thank you for answering. But you should not have come. Now you are in danger too. General Reeves' eyes narrowed. Tell me, who is the enemy? What happened here? Kalen looked around, his eyes filled with sorrow. The Dark Fleet came from beyond the edge of known space. We thought we were safe. We had weapons, walls, ships, but nothing stopped them. They destroyed our station, burned our world. Our fleet fought, but they were lost. All lost. I escaped, sent the call for help, but they are coming. They will find you. They always do. The room was silent. Even the soldiers seemed to feel the weight of Kellen's words. Ray felt a chill run through him. What kind of enemy could destroy so much so quickly? General Reeves spoke again. Where are they now? Can we stop them? Kalen shook his head. You cannot see them until they choose to be seen. They hide in the dark, they wait, then they strike, and when they strike it is already too late. The officers looked at each other. Some doubted Kellen's words. Some believed, but all knew they had to be ready. General Reeves gave the order. We set up defenses. All ships at battle stations. We will not be caught by surprise. The Armada spread out across the system. Ships formed lines around the wreckage of the alien station. Fighters like Ray's flew patrols, scanning for signs of the enemy. Engineers worked to strengthen shields, ready weapons, repair damage. The tension was thick. Everyone waited. Everyone watched. Hours passed, then a day, then another. No sign of the Dark Fleet. But small things began to happen. A fighter's engine failed without reason. A sensor on a battleship stopped working. A scout ship went missing on patrol. No wreckage, no signal, just gone. The officers began to worry. General Reeves kept .com, but his mind raced. Something was wrong. Ray flew his fighter through the debris field. He kept his eyes sharp, his hands steady on the controls. The wreckage floated around him, pieces of metal, broken weapons, parts of ships. It was like flying through a graveyard. His sensors beeped softly, watching for movement, but the space was empty. Too empty. Then his screen flashed. A signal, faint, but there. Something large, moving fast, but invisible to the eye. He called it in. Command, this is Ray. I'm picking up something big, heading toward our position. Can't see it, only on sensors. The radio crackled. General Reeves' voice came through. Copy that. Ray, hold position. Do not engage. We're scanning. But before the scans could finish, the Dark Fleet revealed itself. One by one, massive ships appeared out of the black. Their shapes were strange, sharp angles, long claws, dark metal that seemed to swallow light. Their weapons glowed red. Their engines burned like fire. There were so many, they filled the space beyond the Armada. The first shots came fast. Red beams cut through the dark. The enemy fired without mercy. Earth's ships returned fire. The battle had begun. Ray weaved his fighter through the storm. He fired at enemy drones, small fast machines that flew like angry insects. His shots hit and the drones burst into flame. But more came. The sky was filled with them. He stayed focused. He would not let fear take him. The enemy's main ships fired on the Armada. Earth's battleships shook under the blasts. Shields, held for now. Missiles flew from both sides. Explosions lit the dark like lightning. The wreckage of the old station was torn apart in the crossfire. General Reeves gave clear, sharp orders. Hold the line. Keep the fighters moving. Target their command ships if you can see them. We have to break their control. Kalen was on the command deck watching the battle. His face was pale. This is what they do. They come in waves. They break your line, then they tear you apart. But General Reeves refused to give up. Not this time, he said. Not Earth's Armada. The fight raged on. Ray flew close to one of the enemy's large ships. He saw its weapons glowing, ready to fire again. He aimed carefully, fired. A missile at the weak point near the engine. The blast shook the ship. Fire poured out. The enemy ship began to fall apart. But for every enemy ship destroyed, more seemed to appear. The Dark Fleet's numbers were endless. Earth's ships fought with courage, but they were outnumbered. The Armada began to take heavy losses. A destroyer exploded. A cruiser's engines failed. Fighters were lost in the storm of fire. Ray's fighter took a hit. Sparks flew in the cockpit. Smoke filled the air, but he kept flying, kept fighting. He knew the Armada's only hope was to hold together, to buy time, to find a way to turn the tide. General Reeves gave a new order. All ships fall back toward the inner system. Use the planet's gravity to slow their advance. We can regroup. There the Armada began to move. The enemy chased them, firing as they came. The battle turned into a running fight, with Earth's ships firing behind them as they fell back. Ray and the other fighters covered the retreat, striking at the enemy where they could dot. As they neared the planet, something unexpected happened. The Dark Fleet stopped. Their ships held position at the edge of the system. They did not follow, they simply watched. The officers on Earth's flagship stared at the screens, confused. Why had the enemy stopped? What were they waiting for? Kellen's voice was soft. This is their way. They let you think you are safe, then they come again, stronger, smarter when you are weak. Ray landed his fighter on the flagship, his body tired, his mind racing. He looked up at the stars. He knew this was far from over. The Dark Fleet had only begun its attack, and somewhere out there, the true enemy leader waited, watching, planning the next move. The Armada now floated near the planet, safe for the moment. The ships were damaged. Many had burn marks across their hulls. Some had lost engines, others had holes where weapons once stood. The crews worked day and night, trying to make repairs. Inside, the soldiers rested where they could, ate quick meals, and shared quiet words of hope. But the shadow of the Dark Fleet still hung over them. General Reeves stood at the main screen of the flagship. His eyes stared at the enemy ships in the distance. They were like black shapes on the edge of space, still waiting. The general felt it deep inside. The enemy was planning something, but what? Kalen stood beside him. His pale face looked tired. They are watching us, he said softly. They are learning how we fight. Soon they will strike again, and when they do, it will be worse than before. General Reeves nodded. Then we must be ready. We need to know more. We need to see them before they see us. He turned to his officers. Send out scout ships. Quiet. Fast. They will move through the dark and look for answers. Ray sat in his small fighter, ready for launch. He had been chosen to lead one of the scout groups. His ship was patched but still fast. His heartbeat steady. He knew this mission was dangerous, but he welcomed it. They needed to know what the Dark Fleet was planning, and he would help find out. The scouts launched. Small, quick ships slipping out into the shadows of space. They flew low along the planet's edge, using its gravity to hide. Then they moved into the field of wreckage and dead moons, silent, watching. Ray's ship moved between the broken pieces of old ships. The remains of Kellen's lost fleet drifted all around. Twisted metal, shattered weapons, burned hulls. It was like flying through a graveyard. His sensors were on full, scanning for any sign of life, any clue about the enemy. Then, the sensors picked up something, a strange energy reading, faint, moving. He followed it carefully, weaving between the debris. His ship's lights were off, engines low. He did not want to be seen. The reading led him to a large piece of wreckage, an old cruiser split in two. Inside, something glowed softly. Ray moved closer. His ship's camera zoomed in. There, in the broken hull, was an enemy device. Small, black, with lines of red light across its surface. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Ray realized what it was. A spy device. The Dark Fleet was watching them through the wreckage. He called it in command. "This is Ray. I've found one of their devices. They're using our Rex to spy on us." General Reeves' voice came through. "Understood. Mark the location. Do not engage. Return when ready." But as Ray marked the spot, his sensors flashed red. Movement. Small shapes. Enemy drones. They had seen him. Ray hit the engines. His ship shot forward, fast and sharp. The drones gave chase. They fired small bursts of red energy. Shots hit the debris around him. Pieces flew apart. Ray dodged, weaved through the wreckage. He fired back, striking one drone, then another, but they kept coming. His ship shook as a shot hit near the wing. Alarms sounded. Smoke filled the cockpit. Ray gritted his teeth, pushing the ship harder. He had to get back. Near the planet, Earth's fleet picked up the fight. Fighters launched to help. Ray's ship burst from the wreckage field. Enemy drones. Close behind, Earth's fighters opened fire, blasting the drones apart. Ray made it back, landing hard on the flagship's deck. His ship hissed and smoked, but he was safe. General Reeves met him as he climbed out. "What did you see?" Ray told him about the spy device, about the drones, about the enemy using the wreckage to hide and watch. The general's face grew. "They know everything we do," he said. "Every move. Every plan." Kalen spoke quietly. "This is their way. They stay in the shadows. They make you fear the dark. Then they strike where you are weakest." General Reeves turned to his officers. "We need to clear that field, destroy the wreckage, take away their eyes, and we need to find their true fleet, their command ship. That's the only way we win." Earth's ships began firing into the wreckage field. Missiles and plasma beams lit the dark. Pieces of old ships burned, broke apart, vanished. But as they cleared the field, they found more of the enemy's devices, hidden everywhere. The Dark Fleet had been watching them from the start. The Armada prepared for the next attack. Shields were raised, weapons loaded. Fighters stood ready. But as the hours passed, the enemy did not come. The Dark Fleet stayed back, silent, waiting. The tension grew. Ray sat with his team, checking their ships, sharing quiet words. They all felt it, the calm before the storm, and they knew the storm was coming soon. General Reeves stood on the deck, looking out at the black shapes in the distance. He spoke softly to himself. "You're out there, watching, waiting, but so are we. We will not fall easily." Then the sensors picked up something new, a huge energy reading, bigger than before, moving fast, straight toward the fleet. The enemy was coming. The war wasn't over, not yet. The Valari had pulled back into deep space. Their wounded ships vanished into the cold darkness. No messages, no threats, just silence. But everyone knew what that silence meant. They would return. The only question was when. Earth didn't wait for the answer. Within hours of the great battle, fleets moved, repaired, rearmed, expanded. New factories lit up under Earth's oceans, on the dark side of Mars. Inside, old moons cracked open like eggs. Earth didn't build to protect. They built to end wars. In orbit above Yavara Prime, Colonel Rain stood at the window of the ENS Dominion. The stars were quiet again below him. Children played in parks. Lights were coming back on. The planet was breathing again. But Rain knew peace was temporary. He turned to his officers. "Begin the next phase. Across all known space, Earth's second response began. Not ships. Stations. Massive defense rings. AI-guided command hubs. Weaponized asteroid platforms. They didn't orbit Earth, they orbited everyone else. Council worlds, neutral zones, small colonies. If you accepted Earth's help, Earth would stay. That was the deal, and most said yes. Some were afraid too, but they said yes anyway. Because after Yavara, everyone knew if Earth showed up, you lived. At the Council's main chamber, tension reached breaking point. Ambassadors from over 300 worlds demanded answers. Who gave Earth this authority? They are not rulers of the galaxy. This is an occupation, but no one could deny the truth. Since Earth took control of outer defense, pirate attacks dropped to zero. No more smuggling cartels, no more slave routes. Order had returned, not because of council talks, but because Earth sent warships in the center of the chamber. Ambassador Lorivolt stood again. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't give a speech. She simply said, "They saved my world," and sat back down. That there was no reply. There didn't need to be. Elsewhere, in a secret bunker under Europa's ice, General Mendoza gave a private order. Activate Vault Sigma. The order unlocked Earth's oldest files. Weapons.old tech.old truths. Rain received the package with one note. This is why we were always different. Inside were blueprints from Earth's ancient wars, before they joined the stars. Battles from a time when humanity nearly wiped itself out. Rain read each one and understood. Earth wasn't dangerous because of its strength. Earth was dangerous because of its history. Back in deep space, far beyond the line, Valari scouts whispered through organic relays. They sent one final report to their dying queen. Humans do not fight for glory. They do not fight for conquest. They fight because they must. And then silence. The swarm didn't return. Not yet. Maybe not ever on Eva or Prime. A boy asked his teacher, "Will Earth always protect us?" She smiled. "Earth doesn't protect," she said softly. "They warn." In orbit, the sky remained filled with black ships, not glowing, not loud, just present, watching, and if anything moved against the weak again, those ships would not hesitate, because they were built for one thing. Not peace. Not control. Total war. The alarm filled the flagship, a loud, sharp sound that echoed through every hall, every deck. Soldiers ran to their stations. Pilots sprinted to their fighters. The time for waiting was over. The dark fleet was coming. General Reeves stood on the command deck. His face was hard, his eyes cold and focused. On the giant screen, the enemy fleet appeared more massive than anyone had believed. Huge ships shaped like claws and knives. Their black metal seemed to drink the light of the stars. Behind them came waves of drones, small and fast, like a swarm of angry wasps. "They're coming straight for us," an officer said, his voice tight with fear. "Hold the line," General Reeves ordered. "All ships fire at will. Fighters engage the drones. Protect the fleet." Ray's fighter shot out of the hangar. He felt the force push him back into his seat as the engines roared. Around him, dozens of Earth's fighters flew alongside, heading into the storm. The first blasts came. Red beams from the enemy ships. Bright, deadly lines that tore through space. One struck a destroyer. The shield glowed, then broke. The ship's side exploded in fire. Pieces of it floated away. Fleet fired back. Missiles and plasma beams streaked toward the enemy. Some hit their marks. An enemy cruiser burst apart. A drone carrier split in two. But for every enemy ship they destroyed, more kept coming. Ray and his team weaved through the drone swarm. The enemy drones fired small, fast shots. Ray dodged, rolled, fired his cannons. One drone exploded, then another, but they were everywhere. The sky was full of fire and metal. The flagship's guns fired again and again. The giant cannons glowed hot. The ship shook under the force of its own weapons, but the dark fleet kept coming closer. General Reeves called out new orders. Target their command ships, break their control. The battleships turned their guns on the largest enemy ships. They fired all at once. The space between the fleets lit up like day. Enemy command ship was hit. It cracked apart. Its engines burst into flame, and it fell toward the dead planet below. But the other enemy ships kept advancing. The dark fleet seemed endless. Kalen stood beside the general, watching in silence. His pale face was filled with sorrow. "This is how they win. They come in waves. They break your will. They never stop." General Reeves didn't answer. His mind was racing, searching for a way to turn the tide. Then a plan formed. A dangerous plan, but it was the only chance. He opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships change formation. Draw them toward the planet's gravity. We'll use it. Make them come close. Then we strike at their core." The fleet obeyed. Earth's ships pulled back closer to the planet. The enemy followed, eager to finish the battle. The dark fleet moved into the trap. Ray's fighter flew low near the planet's edge. He could see the burned surface below, blackened land, dead cities, scars from old battles. The enemy drones chased him. He led them close to the ground, where their numbers meant less. He fired again, blasting another drone out of the sky. The enemy command ships came close. Pulled by the planet's gravity, General Reeves gave the order. "Now all weapons, fire at their cores." The fleet fired everything they had. Missiles, plasma beams, railguns. The sky turned white with light. The enemy's cores, the glowing heart of their ships, were hit. One by one, they broke apart. Huge explosions shook space. Pieces of enemy ships rained down onto the planet's surface. The Dark Fleet began to fall back. Their attack was broken, but the cost was great. Earth's fleet was badly damaged. Many ships were gone. Many fighters were lost. Ray landed his fighter, smoke rising from its engine. He climbed out, tired but alive. He looked out at the wreckage of both fleets, scattered across the stars. On the command deck, General Reeves stared at the screen. The enemy had been pushed back. The fleet had survived, but only just, and he knew this was not the end. The Dark Fleet had more ships, more weapons. This had only been the first strike. Kalen spoke quietly. He fought well, but they will come again, stronger, smarter. We have little time. General Reeves nodded. His voice was low but firm. Then we prepare. And next time, we finish this. And out in the dark, beyond the wreckage, the true heart of the enemy waited, watching, planning the next attack. The wreckage of the battle floated across the stars. Earth's Armada had survived, but it was hurt. The ships were scarred. Some drifted without power. Some hung silent, waiting for repairs. Inside, the soldiers worked hard. They patched holes, fixed engines, and reloaded weapons, but no one spoke much. The battle had shaken them all. General Reeves stood on the command deck. His face was lined with worry. His mind raced. They had beaten back the first attack, but just barely. He knew the enemy would come again, and soon. And when they did, Earth's fleet might not be ready. Kalen stood beside him, silent. His black eyes watched the screens, where the broken enemy ships drifted in the distance. They will not stop, he said softly. They will study how you fight. Next time, they will come in a way you cannot stop. General Reeves clenched his fists. Then we find them first. We strike them before they strike us. But even as he spoke, trouble had already begun inside the fleet. In the lower decks of the flagship, 2 engineers worked at a power station. One checked the controls. The other, a man named Loran, glanced around, nervous. When his partner turned away, Loran pulled out a small device. He pressed it against the panel. A soft click. The device locked into place. Its tiny red light blinked once, then vanished into the dark dot. No one saw him do it. Later that night, in a meeting room, the senior officers gathered. General Reeves, Kalen, the captains of the ships. They spoke in low voices, trying to plan their next move. But as they talked, the lights flickered. The floor shook. A loud alarm sounded. The ship's voice spoke through the speakers. Warning. Power failure in main engine room. Fire detected. Automatic systems offline. General Reeves jumped to his feet. Get teams down there. Now the officers ran. The halls filled with the sound of boots, shouts, and alarms. Smoke rose from the lower decks. Sparks flew from the walls. The engine room burned. And in the middle of the chaos, Loran slipped away. Unseen. Ray and his fighter team were called to their ships, ready in case the enemy was behind the attack. But as Ray waited for launch orders, he felt something was wrong. Why would the enemy strike only the engine room? Why not attack the whole fleet? Down in the engine room, the fire crews worked fast. They put out the flames. They found the device small, black, with faint red lines. A bomb set by someone on the inside. When the news reached General Reeves, his face grew hard. His voice was sharp. Find who did this now. The search began. Security teams swept the flagship. They checked every room, every system, every person. Fear spread through the fleet. If there was a traitor, who could it be? Could it be a pilot, an officer, a friend? Ray spoke with his team. They all felt it. The trust they had was breaking. People began to look at each other with doubt. Every small action seemed suspicious. Every quiet word, every glance. The enemy had not just attacked from outside. Now they had sown fear within. Kalen warned the general. This is part of their plan, to make you turn on each other, to weaken you before the next strike. But General Reeves was determined. He would not let fear break his fleet. He ordered tighter security. He ordered checks on all systems, but deep inside he knew the damage was already done. The fleet was divided. That night, in the shadows of the lower deck, Loran sent a signal, a hidden transmitter, built into the wall. A soft pulse of energy flew into space, a message to the Dark Fleet. Their trap was working. In the command center, the sensors picked up a faint signal. Ray, who had stayed behind to help watch the systems, saw it. His eyes narrowed. He checked the readings. The signal came from inside the ship. He called General Reeves. Sir, we've got something. A signal from inside. Reeves came at once. He stared at the data, where Ray pointed. Lower decks, near the engine room. Same place as the bomb. The general's eyes flashed with anger. Get A team down there now. Security teams ran to the spot. They found the transmitter. They found the hidden controls. And they found Loren trying to slip away. He was caught. The traitor was revealed. Loren said nothing at first, but under questioning he broke. He told them everything. How he had sent messages to the enemy. How he had planted the bomb. How he had waited for the right moment to destroy the flagship from within. General Reeves stared at him. Why betray your own people? Loren's eyes were hollow. His voice was low. They promised I would live, that I could join them, that Earth would fall no matter what. I chose the winning side. Reeves turned away in disgust. The traitor was taken away, but the damage was done. The fleet knew now that the enemy had spies. Fear and doubt filled the hearts of the soldiers. Could there be others like Loren? Could more bombs be hidden? Kalen stood with the general. You see, this is their way. They break you from within. The next attack will come soon, and you will not be ready. General Reeves looked at the stars. He knew Kalen was right, but he also knew they had no choice. They had to fight. They had to stand, even if the enemy's shadow was already inside their walls. Far out in the dark, the enemy fleet waited. The signal had reached them. The time for the final attack was near. The fleet was tired. The soldiers were tired. The ships were broken in many places, but still, they stood ready. General Reeves had given one order: prepare the trap. The traitor had been caught, but the damage he caused could not be undone. The fleet was divided by fear. People whispered about other spies. People checked every corner for more bombs. Yet through all of this, General Reeves kept his mind clear. The next battle could not be fought with fear. It had to be fought with strength and with a plan. General Reeves stood with Kalen and his senior officers on the flagship's deck. He spoke in a voice that was calm but firm. We will not wait for them to strike us again. We will strike first, but we must be smart. We must use what we have left, and we must make them believe they have won, until it is too late. The officers listened. Some doubted the plan, some feared it, but they all knew it was their best. Chance Kalen nodded slowly. Yes, this is the only way. Let them think you are weak. Let them think you are broken. Then destroy them when they are blind. The plan was simple, but deadly. The fleet would act as if it was falling back, as if it was broken, as if it was giving up. The enemy would come close, thinking victory was near. But Earth's ships would lead them into a deadly trap. The gravity well of the dead star at the edge of the system. The dead star was a dark, cold thing. Its pull was strong, stronger than anything else in the system. If the enemy fleet was caught in that pull, it would be torn apart. Ray and his fighter team were called in. Their job: lead the enemy drones toward the trap. Fight just enough to keep them chasing. Then, at the right moment, turn and strike. Ray checked his fighter carefully. His ship was patched and scarred from the last battles, but the engines still burned hot. He climbed in, strapped down, and waited for the signal. The fleet moved, slowly at first, as if it was weak. The ships pulled back, falling toward the dead star. The enemy saw this and took the bait. The dark fleet advanced, eager to finish what they had started. On the command deck, General Reeves watched the screens. The enemy ships came closer, closer. The plan was working, but there was little room for error. One mistake, and Earth's fleet could fall into the star's pool along with the enemy. The enemy fired as they came. Beams of red light shot across space. Earth's ships took hits, but kept moving. Ray and his team flew ahead, leading the enemy. Drones on a chase. The drones followed, hungry for the kill. Then came the moment. The enemy fleet crossed a point of no return. The star's pool began to take hold. The enemy ships fired harder, trying to break the fleet's line before they noticed the trap. General Reeves gave the order. Now all ships turn and firefighters strike their engines. Take them down. The fleet spun as one. The weapons fired together. A storm of missiles, beams and cannon fire hit the enemy fleet at once. The Dark Fleet's command ships took the brunt of the blast. One after another, they cracked apart, their engines failing. Ray led his team in tight formation. They fired at the enemy's engines, targeting the ships that tried to escape the star's pool. The enemy ships burst apart or fell into the darkness. Below, Kalen stood at the screen, watching as the Dark Fleet's numbers fell. His voice was soft. They did not expect this. They thought you were weak, but you were stronger than they knew. But even as the trap worked, the battle was not won yet. The enemy leader revealed itself at last. A massive black ship, larger than any seen before, appeared from the shadow of the star. Its shape was terrible, like a claw wrapped in armor, with weapons that glowed bright red. The Dark Fleet's true commander had come. General Reeves stared at the ship. There it is, The heart of the enemy. If we take that down, we end this. The giant black ship fired. Beams of power tore through space. Earth's fleet took hits. A cruiser was cut in two. A battleship lost its shields. But the fleet held its line. They fired back with everything they had. Ray and his team flew toward the giant ship. The enemy fired on them, but Ray dodged, rolled, fired. His shots hit the weak points on the giant ship's hull. Bit by bit, its armor cracked. General Reeves gave the final order. All ships focus, fire on the command ship. We end this now. The fleet's weapons turned as one. The sky lit up as Earth's last strength was thrown at the enemy leader. The giant ship shook. Explosions burst from its sides. The engines failed. The ship fell toward the star's pool. Ray's fighter flew close. He fired the final shot at the enemy's core. The giant ship cracked apart, torn by fire and gravity. The dark fleet fell into ruin. The ships that survived the trap turned and fled. The dead star swallowed the wreckage. Silence fell over the battlefield. General Reeves stood quiet, watching the screen. The enemy was broken. The trap had worked. Earth's fleet had won. For now, Kalen spoke. You have done what many thought was impossible. But this is not over. There may be more out there. This was only one dark fleet. The galaxy is wide. The shadow may still fall again. Ray returned to the flagship. His fighter scorched, but still flying. He climbed out, looking at the stars where the enemy had stood. He knew Kalen was right. The fight was not done. But today, they had won. The stars were quiet after the great trap. The enemy's wreckage floated near the dead star, pulled slowly into its dark heart. Earth's fleet hung in space, broken but standing. But no one felt peace. No one felt safe. General Reeves stood on the command deck, his face lit by the soft glow of the screens. His eyes were tired but sharp. He looked at the reports. Ships damaged, weapons low, soldiers lost. And yet, the fleet lived. The trap had worked. The dark fleet had fallen. But Kellen's words echoed in his mind. There may be more out there. And soon, the truth came. The sensors picked up a signal. Faint at first, then stronger, then many signals. A new fleet, a larger fleet, the true force of the enemy. The dark fleet that had attacked them was only a scout, a small piece of the real threat. The officers on the deck went silent as the screens filled with shapes. Black ships, bigger than before, hundreds of them, maybe more. Ray stood at the window of the fighter bay. He saw the shapes in the distance. His heart sank, but he clenched his fists. We beat them once. We'll fight again. General Reeves called the fleet together. His voice went out over every speaker, every screen. Simple words, strong words. This is it. The last battle. We stand. Together we fight together. We protect Earth and all we love. No matter what comes, we do not break. We do not fall. The fleet moved. The last stand began. Ray launched with his team. His fighter engines roared. The sky was filled with Earth's ships, moving like a wall of steel and fire. The enemy fleet came closer. The space between them burned with the light of weapons ready to fire. And then the battle began. The enemy fired first. Red beams, missiles, bursts of dark energy. Earth's ships answered with everything they had. The stars became a storm of fire. Explosions filled the dark. Ships on both sides were hit. Some burst apart. Some kept fighting, scarred but alive. Fighter weaved through the enemy drones. He fired again and again. A drone exploded, then another. But more came. They filled the sky like a black tide. General Reeves stood at the front of the command deck, giving orders, holding the line. His voice was steady, his mind sharp. He saw every move, every chance, and used it. Target their command ships. Break their control, he ordered. Earth's battleships focused fire. They hit the enemy's larger ships, striking at their engines, their weapons. One by one, the enemy command ships fell. But still the dark fleet came. Kalen watched in silence, his black eyes filled with sorrow. This is their true strength, the wave that washes away all who stand before it. But even as Kalen spoke, Earth's fleet kept fighting. The soldiers did not give up. The pilots did not fall back. Ray flew into the heart of the enemy swarm, his ship blazing with fire, his guns hot from battle. General Reeves made his final move. He gave the command that would decide the fate of the fleet. All ships push forward, break their line. We fight to the last. Earth's fleet moved as one. They charged into the enemy, close, too close for the enemy's larger ships to fire without hitting their own. The battle turned into chaos. The dark fleet's line broke. Their ships crashed into each other. Their control fell apart. Ray saw the opening. He and his team dove for the enemy's largest ship, the heart of the fleet. The ship was massive, its weapons dark and deadly, but now it was exposed. Ray fired his last missiles. His shots hit the weak points. The giant ship cracked, then exploded in a burst of red light. The enemy fleet began to fall back. Without their heart, without their command, they lost their will. The tide turned. The last battle was won, but the cost was great. Earth's fleet was all but gone. Only a few ships remained, broken and scarred. Ray's fighter was damaged, his fuel low, but he made it back. The space around them was filled with wreckage, friend and foe alike. General Reeves stood on the deck. He looked at the screens, at the empty space where the Dark Fleet had been. His voice was soft. We did it. We held the line. Kalen nodded. His face was sad, but there was respect in his eyes. Few in the galaxy could do what you did today. Earth stands, and because of that, hope lives. Ray stood on the deck of the flagship, looking at the stars. The battle was over. The Dark Fleet was broken, but he knew the galaxy was wide. And somewhere out there, other shadows waited. But Earth had shown its strength. And if the enemy came, again, they would be ready. The battle was over. The stars were quiet once more. The space around the dead star was filled with wreckage, broken ships, burnt drones, shattered weapons. The Dark Fleet was no more. Earth's fleet had won, but at great cost. The flagship floated near the edge of the battlefield. Its hull was blackened. Its shields were gone. Fires had been put out, but scars remained. Inside, the crew worked to repair systems. The halls were quiet. The soldiers moved slowly, their faces pale with the memory of battle. General Reeves stood alone. At the window of the command deck, he looked out at the wreckage. His heart was heavy. So many lost, so many ships gone. But still, Earth stood, and that mattered most. Kalon entered the deck, his steps soft. He stood beside the general, looking at the stars. You did what no one thought could be done, Kalon said. You faced the shadow and broke it. Earth is safe. For now. General Reeves nodded. His voice was low. We won this fight, but we paid a high price. Kalon's eyes darkened. That is the way of war, but you gave the galaxy hope. Others will hear of this. Others will know Earth stands strong. The fleet began to gather what was left. The few ships that remained formed a small line, moving together toward safer space. Signals were sent to Earth. The news of victory traveled faster than light. Across the stars, people would hear the story of the battle at the Dead Star. They would know Earth had faced the dark and survived. Ray stood in the hangar near his fighter. His ship was damaged, burn marks on the wings, holes in the hull. But it had brought him home. He placed a hand on it, silent for a moment. Then, he turned to look at the stars. He thought of those they had lost. He thought of what would come next. In the days that followed, the fleet moved back toward Earth. The journey was slow. Repairs were made as they traveled. The crews worked hard, side by side, no longer divided by fear. They were one again, the last fighters of a great battle. When they neared Earth, the planet shone bright below them. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. Home, the people of Earth sent messages of thanks, of joy, of sorrow for the fallen. The fleet had protected them, and now, the fleet returned. General Reeves gave his final command of the war. Take us home. The ships entered the atmosphere. People on the ground looked up and saw them. Ships broken, but proud. Ships that had faced the dark and brought back the light. Ceremonies were held for the fallen, names were spoken, stories were told. The people of Earth promised to remember what had been done and who had done it. Ray stood with his team at the edge of a wide field, where the ships now rested. He looked at the sky. He knew the Dark Fleet was gone, but the galaxy was wide. There would be more dangers, more battles, but Earth was ready. Kalon stood with them, looking at the world that had answered his call for help. This is a strong world, he said. A world that gives hope. I will carry this story to others. The shadow will not rise again so easily, not while Earth stands. General Reeves stood with his people. He looked at the sky, at the stars where the battle had been. His voice was quiet but sure. This was not the end, but it was a beginning. A new dawn for Earth, and for the galaxy. And as the sun rose over the fields of Earth, its light touched the ships, the soldiers, and the world they had saved. A new day had come, a day of peace, for now, but if the shadow returned, Earth would be ready.